Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson number 3 on our persuasive writing unit based on the central theme of climate change. Okay, so today is going to be developing your understanding of the background of climate change. We're going to be thinking about the use of facts and statistics to inform a persuasive argument, and our objective will be to be able to evaluate the importance and persuasiveness of arguments raised about protecting our planet. Okay, so the whole purpose of doing this is because we are working towards a final assessment where you will be writing a letter to an MP regarding the topic of climate change and calling for further action on protecting our planet. So in order to do that really effectively, you need to have facts and statistics that you can use to defend your argument and prove why what you're arguing is important and correct. Okay, so facts is going to be a central kind of topic for today's lesson, and as you can see in your starter, we're kicking off with that as our central focus. So your starter is on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being most agree, 1 being least agree. How important are facts in persuading you to agree with somebody? So I want you to rate that in your own opinion now. 5 would be, I totally agree that facts are really super important in persuading me to agree with somebody. And 1 would be, I don't really agree, I think there's more to it than just using facts. Alright, so answer that one now and pause the video and then we'll talk it through. Okay, so you should have paused the video and answered the starter, and rating on a scale of 1 to 5, the degree to which you agree that facts are important in persuading you to agree with somebody. So most of us would probably say that we think that facts are very important. How do you agree with somebody if they've given you no evidence to believe that what they're saying is actually true? And in that, facts are super important because they are our evidence, they prove our case, they are things that are evidenceable, that's why they are facts, and therefore by providing those we make our case seem true. Yeah, and that would be a logical argument, but for anybody out there that was a bit more sceptical and rated themselves lower down on the scale, maybe towards a 2 or a 3, even as low as a 1 if you're being really brave with this, then you would be suggesting that there's more to it than just using facts. And if that's you, you would be partly right. So although it is true that facts are our concrete proof that we should agree with something, there is more to it than that. A university study actually found that when it comes to climate change, if we are appealing to people's emotions, if we make our case through appealing to their better nature through their emotional response, people were more likely to take action and be persuaded to do something about the planet. So although facts are important, I want you to understand that it's not as simple as just being able to rely upon facts. The appeal to people's emotions is equally important, okay? So bearing that in mind, we'll now have a look at our challenge. So our challenge is to write a couple of sentences to persuade someone of the beauty and elegance and wonder of our planet. And our planet is the title that we are working on today up there. So if you haven't written that down, you now need to make sure that that is in your book ready to go. So we are going to be thinking about how we could describe the beauty, elegance and wonder of our planet now. I almost think of it in terms of finding the right words. I imagine I'm writing this for somebody who's perhaps lost their sight and can't any longer appreciate the beauty of the planet. If you want to go even weirder than that, you can imagine that you're writing it for an alien who has never actually come down and experienced our planet. So what I'm asking you to do is really think about the words that you could use to sell the beauty, the elegance and the wonder of our natural world. And the image in the background there might give you some inspiration. So that's the Northern Lights. So you might be able to think about describing that as a way to add conviction to your writing. Okay, as you're writing, you need to think about your word choice and your use of punctuation to persuade. I need at least 2 sentences, and I've given you some sentence starters here, like surely, you must agree, it's undeniable and incontrovertibly. That means it's impossible to argue any other way, and it cannot be argued with. And then I've given you some vocabulary here to help you to describe the beauty of the planet. So we've got splendour, brilliance, ethereal magic. If something is ethereal, it's almost like otherworldly. It's temporary, it doesn't last, but it's got this otherworldly beauty about it. Spectacular vista. A vista is like a view or a scene. So spectacular vista or awe-inspiring. You do not have to use these phrases and these words, and they're there to help you, to give you some ideas. If you've got your own better phrases and words, please use those. Okay, so I'm now going to show you a clip, and I'm going to ask you to add to your persuasive writing to persuade someone of the beauty, elegance and wonder of the natural world, and using this clip as a source of inspiration. So this is actually a trailer for Frozen Planet, and I want you to use what you're seeing to inform your description. Think about the imagery, think about your vocabulary that you could use to really show the beauty of our natural world. Okay, so you should have been able to watch that clip and think about the beauty that's being demonstrated and the language that you could use to really try and convey that in a persuasive manner. I'm now going to show you a different clip which is equally about the effects of climate change. So unlike just capturing the beauty of the natural world that you saw in the previous clip, this clip is going to illustrate for you some of the damage that climate change has actually done. And I want you to think about how you feel as you watch this. You need to jot down a couple of words that sum up your emotional response to the feelings that you have as you watch this clip. Okay?
The breakaway of an iceberg the size of a skyscraper generates a colossal tidal wave. million tons of ice break free. Glaciers have always released ice into the ocean, but now this is happening nearly twice as fast as it did 10 years ago. Around the world, ice is now feeding vast amounts of fresh water into the sea, raising sea levels, changing salinity, and disrupting ocean currents.
Okay, so you should have had to think about how that sort of impacts you emotionally, really. One of the things that makes David Attenborough's documentaries so powerful is the fact that he marries together the use of facts and statistics, provable events and measurable impacts with emotional impact. And what I want you to understand this lesson is that using facts and statistics is really important in proving that you're credible, that you're believable in your persuasive writing. But to do it best, you need to put that together with an appeal to the emotions. Okay, so hopefully you've seen that kind of demonstrated through the videos that we've looked at so far. We're now going to turn our attention specifically to the kind of facts that you will need to know in order to prove your case on climate change. So meet me on the next slide. Okay, so we're now going to think about the facts as it stands with climate change, and I'm going to ask you to mind map what you already know about climate change. You may wish to copy the awesome graphic here of the ice cream that's melting as a symbol of global warming. You should surround it with everything you already know about the topic of climate change, and you will need to add to this as we watch the following clips as well. Okay, so take a couple of minutes now, up to 5 minutes, to mind map what you already know. Try not to cheat and go and look it up. I want to know from this point already what you're already aware of in terms of climate change. Mind map it out now. Pause the video. I'm sure you've got a pretty hefty number of facts already on your mind map, and we are now going to watch a short piece about climate change, and I'm going to ask you to add any additional information in green pen. So I'm asking for anything that you didn't already have on your mind map that you learned during this clip here, and I want you to try and find at least 3 or 4 points that you could add to improve your mind map on climate change. And we're thinking facts in particular, so provable statistics, facts, etc. Okay.
To understand climate change, think of the game Tetris. For eons, Earth has played a version of this game with blocks of carbon. They enter the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas from volcanoes, decaying plant matter, breathing creatures, and the surface of the sea. And they leave the atmosphere when they're used by plants during photosynthesis, absorbed back into the ocean, or stored in soil and sediment. This game of Tetris is called the carbon cycle, and it's the engine of life on Earth. What's the connection to climate? Well, when that carbon dioxide is in the air waiting to be reabsorbed, it traps a portion of the sun's heat which would otherwise escape to space. That's why carbon dioxide is called a greenhouse gas. It creates a blanket of warmth known as the greenhouse effect that keeps our Earth from freezing like Mars. The more carbon dioxide blocks hang out in the atmosphere waiting to be cleared, the warmer Earth becomes. Though the amount of carbon in the atmosphere has varied through ice ages and asteroid impacts, over the past 8,000 years, the stable climate we know took shape, allowing human civilization to thrive. But about 200 years ago, we began digging up that old carbon that had been stored in the soil. These fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, are made from the buried remains of plants and animals that died long before humans evolved. The energy stored inside them was able to power our factories, cars, and power plants. But burning these fuels also injected new carbon blocks into Earth's Tetris game. At the same time, we cleared forests for agriculture, reducing the Earth's ability to remove the blocks. and since 1750, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere has increased by 40% and shows no sign of slowing. Just like in Tetris, the more blocks pile up, the harder it becomes to restore stability. The extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere accelerates the greenhouse effect by trapping more heat near the surface and causing polar ice caps to melt. And the more they melt, the less sunlight they're able to reflect, making the oceans warm even faster. Sea levels rise, coastal populations are threatened with flooding, natural ecosystems are disrupted, and the weather becomes more extreme over time. Climate change may affect different people and places in different ways, but ultimately it's a game that we're all stuck playing. And unlike in Tetris, we won't get a chance to start over and try again.
Okay, so you should have been able to add a couple of key facts from that to your mind map in green pen, aiming for approximately 4 if you can. I'm going to test out your understanding and knowledge of this in a second with a brief quiz. So you will need to go and get yourselves ready for that. Grab a green pen, ready to go through the answers afterwards as well. Right, so here we are. This is a quick quiz to check your understanding of climate change and why it happens. So you've got 6 key questions here. Pause the video and work your way through those questions now. Right, so if you had any gaps answering these questions, go back and watch the video again and check the answers. They are all explained thoroughly in the video. So for any that you think you've missed or not fully understood, go back, watch that last video clip again, and fill in the answers in green pen to correct any errors that you made as well. Okay, so we're now going to look at the emotional impact of facts concerning climate change. So remember what I said earlier, that the most persuasive arguments don't just use facts and statistics to argue their case. They also have an emotional impact alongside that. So we're now going to put that to the test with your comments on the right here. And I'm going to ask you which of these facts you find the most shocking. And you've got to justify your answers. So I'm expecting you to choose your top 3 most shocking facts from the list here. Okay, so I want you to write those down, copy them down, the ones that you find most shocking, and then beneath that you need to justify why you find those the most shocking. So I'm expecting full written sentences about why the top 3, in your opinion, are the most shocking climate change facts. Okay, so pause the video and complete that task now, guys. Okay, so it's actually surprisingly difficult, isn't it, to rank these from most shocking to least. It's actually really hard to choose your top 3, or it certainly was for me. I think personally, the A is clearly very shocking, that climate change could be irreversible by 2030. When we think, just 10 years into our future, it may be impossible to do anything about the damage that we have caused to this planet. I find that, utterly shocking. I'd be so interested to hear which you ranked as your most shocking. Perhaps you can message me on Show My Homework and let me know which ones you ranked as your most shocking. Right, so now we are going to magpie or take the most persuasive arguments that are raised in the next video. So I'm going to be expecting you to choose 2 significant arguments that are raised in the next video, and I want you to copy those down into your books, and I put a subtitle for that of most persuasive points made. Okay, and you're going to need to copy those down as you're watching. You can always pause the video and then play again to allow you time to write.
Right now, we're facing a man-made disaster of global scale. Our greatest threat in thousands of years. Climate change. If we don't take action, the collapse of our civilizations and the extinction of much of the natural world is on the horizon. The world's people have spoken. Their message is clear. Time is running out.
The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere now is 50% higher than it was in 1900. And not only are we piling in more and more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but we are chopping down the forests of the earth at a great rate. And the forests themselves are the most efficient consumers of carbon dioxide that there are on Earth. We're going to destroy the ground because the soil of a rainforest isn't very good. We are actually tampering with the climate of the Earth and with the very atmosphere that we breathe. When we talk about the disappearance of the ozone layer, we don't know what will happen when the ozone layer goes. The world has become so fragile that we cannot subject the Earth to the tortures we can now inflict upon it. When we talk about the greenhouse effect, we're talking about something that affects the entire Earth. And these problems are life and death problems. They go to the root of the viability of the planet itself. If there's one thing that is biologically certain about the human species is that it is a human species, one species.
If we don't stop the destruction of our natural world, nothing else will matter. Simply put, if we don't protect nature, we can't protect ourselves.
The only way we can solve a problem is by a human solution. Never can we sit back and wait for miracles to save us. Miracles don't happen. Sweat happens. Efforts happens. Thought happens.
Okay, so a pretty thought-provoking video there, and I think it's really worth me stopping you at this point to remind you that I am aware of the other side of the argument with the case about climate change, and in fact in a future lesson we will be unpicking both sides of the argument. So those that passionately believe that climate change is real and we need to act, and those who are climate change deniers who have a completely different perspective of it. And it's really important in English that we hear both and all sides of arguments, but we're using this as a tool to teach us how to write persuasively. I do not want to cement for you a vision of what is the right line of argument here. I'd rather you made up your own minds about what you think about all of this. All I'm trying to do is offer you some tools to see how people can create really persuasive campaigns, okay? And I wouldn't wish for you to think that I am presenting one side of argument as the right way of thinking here, okay? I respect your own individual rights to form your own opinions with this. Okay, so we're going to now look at another clip and talk through the impact that clip now has on us as well.
Fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone. In 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us. In this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much. The only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun so we don't burn, but not too distant so we don't turn to ice. Goldilocks said it best. We are just right. This paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically, from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us, our inner reflection. Loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right up under our feet. We cannot allow our history to be written by the wicked, greedy, and loony. It is our duty to protect Mother Nature from those who refuse to see her beauty. Call me crazy, but I believe we should have the right to eat food that's safe, with ingredients we can pronounce, drink water that is clean, marvel at trees, breathe air free of toxins. These are natural rights, not things that can be bargained for in Congress. See, they want you to feel powerless, but it has been said that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway around the world. But when enough people come together, we too will make waves and wash the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you, yes, you watching this behind this screen, to make the effort, because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the 4th second.
Powerful, right? So I would suggest that you probably watch that back now, and you're looking to try and take from this again 2 really excellent, strong arguments that it makes. Again, this is not about the politics of it. This is about finding really convincing argument making, and to learn to identify that and to borrow that and use that to formulate your own strong arguments. So go back, watch it again. It's really powerful and so important to view these things. Find 2 really convincing arguments and copy them down. Okay, pause the video there. Okay, so at this point, have we been in class? I probably have engaged you in some kind of a debate about this. So I've given you a statement below me here. So with all of the information we now have about the impending doom of planet Earth, government should make confronting climate change their top priority. Okay, so that's a statement that we are going to be working with, and I'm going to ask you to write down 4 arguments for and 4 arguments against that statement. So I would draw a table in my book and divide it into the arguments for and the arguments against, and you're aiming for 4 on both sides, so 4 that agree with that statement and 4 that disagree with it. Okay, sadly we can't hear those in debate. If you wish to film some and share those with me as part of your feedback, you are most welcome. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at constructing your arguments now. Okay, hopefully you have had a go at drawing up your 2 sides of the argument concerning the statement below, and that with all the information we now have about the impending doom of planet Earth, governments should make confronting climate change their top priority. This is a really interesting statement if we think about our current situation and the fact that I'm bringing you this lesson remotely and not in person. And of course we know that the reason for that is our own impending disaster that we are facing as a country and indeed globally at the moment. So you may wish to take issue, for example, with the word, with the fact that this is maybe not the sole and top priority for any government to tackle climate change above other more immediate concerns, and that would be a really good line of argument against the statement. Arguments for the statement, you could draw on any of the information covered in the videos that we have watched up to this point. So look back at that TED video on climate change and the facts and statistics that are being offered there, and use those to support that line of argument. Okay, so I would now go back over the videos that we have watched if you haven't got your 4 statements on both sides, and really actively look for those arguments now. Okay, remember, to be persuasive, you need to use more than just your personal opinion. You're backing it up with facts, but you're also trying to appeal to emotions, because we know that people are more likely to act if you give them evidence to do it, but also appeal to their emotional desire to do it. Okay, so hopefully this has been a more engaging lesson for you, and you're finding it okay to access material in this way in these very strange and challenging times. Thank you for all of your efforts and for giving these lessons a really good go. As always, please subscribe to the channel and send me some of your feedback and your thoughts on what we're learning about here, and you can do that via Show My Homework or via my work email account as well. Okay guys, missing you all massively. Take care of yourselves. Bye.